G'day everyone, I've found pigs with the Nova. Very unexpected tonight. The next video I will include my final thoughts and first impressions on the Nova because I have a little bit more to say about that. So stay tuned for that. G'day everyone, and thank you for joining me on what is going to be my last night with the Nocpix NOVA H35R. So I've pulled up into the paddocks. You can probably hear I'm surrounded by lambing paddocks at the moment. I haven't been on this property in about a month. This is my usual fox shooting property. It's my primary one anyway, though I do a lot of the fox shooting for this reason. And even just now, like I've just been looking through the quest rather, and there is a fox in that direction at about 500, 600 meters away. And look, I've got the ballistics calculator set up on the Ace, but given what happened when I was out on the weekend with my mates, and I did try to take a shot at a couple of rabbits at about 300 meters, I was shooting low and left. So before I get too far into this evening, I just wanted to set up a target at 100 meters and get it shooting bang on, and then put that data into the ballistics calculator and see how it goes. And look, as I said too, this is my last night running the Nocpix NOVA. Tomorrow morning, it'll be getting boxed up and sent back to Nocpix. I'm going to be 100% honest with you all, I've had a love-hate relationship with this device. And the reason why it's taken me so long to get into making this video is because of that relationship that I have with this device. So I think I'm ready now to give everyone my final thoughts on it. And I will get to that at the end of this evening, hopefully. If it gets too cold and I get too tired, this might have to be a recap after tonight. But look, that is my aim for tonight. I'm out here to shoot foxes. If there's pigs about, I'm also looking for pigs. And I'll see how I feel. If I feel like dropping a deer, I might. But primary goal's foxes. That's primary one. Primary two is doing my final thoughts on the Nova. Now, there is another night out where I was going to do my final thoughts on the Nova, so I might even include some of that footage into this, so you get a better perspective of the footage from the Nova and what it's like to run. So this footage will be a combination of a few different nights of shooting. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm just going to check POI on this rifle. I can already hear a fox barking in that direction. So yeah, going to get in, get this done, and we'll get after some foxes. Stick around. G'day everyone, back out again, and this will hopefully be the video that has my final thoughts and impressions on the Nocpix NOVA H35R. We're just out sighting in my mate Keith's thermal scope. So we're out on the usual property where I target foxes, but the farmer has asked me tonight to check out a particular area because there has been signs of pigs. So we're just going to check POI on my rifle at 150. Keith's just doing that now, you can hear him in the background. And then we'll move around to the other side of the paddock, get some footage, do some shooting, and like I said, stick around at the end of this video. We'll do the final thoughts and yeah, first impressions, final thoughts on the Nocpix NOVA H35R. Stick around. First fox for the evening is this vixen. So the reason why she's hanging on a fence and she's not in the field is because running the Nova on the roof of the ute, I've left my phone in there, so I've had to walk back, grab my phone, and I wasn't carrying the vixen and my gun all the way up to the ute, so I thought I'll drive it down a little bit closer and set up and take my photo. So I was a little concerned as I walked up to her over in the field there. I thought surely she might have had a lamb because there's lambing ewes just over there, but no, thankfully she was just chewing down on a kangaroo carcass. Yeah, if it weren't for the mangy looking tail, she'd be a pretty healthy looking vixen. But at the rate this is going, she might be the only one to get for the evening. It's getting late. I'll carry on though, maybe drive over to another paddock and just see what it's about. But yeah, so far one fox down for the evening. Okay. Alright everyone, wrapping up this evening with my final thoughts on the Nova H35R. I can't exactly remember how long I've had this device for now, but it's going on about 2 months. From memory, I'm pretty sure I got this towards the end of May, just before its release. Now, I was going to do a final thoughts video on this device about a month ago. And look, at that time, I was right in the peak of my hate side of this love-hate relationship that I've had with this device. I had some concerns about it, and I raised those concerns with Nocpix. But as time's gone on and I've used it more, and now we're down to what is literally the final hours of having this device in my possession, I don't actually want to send it back. Like, I don't want to let it go. It's all honesty, it's been such a handy little device to have. I haven't had to worry about trying to dual purpose my monocular. Like, up until now, I've been running the Vista on the roof in my pan tilt remote mount. So having like a dedicated thermal spotter on the roof that's sole purpose, that's been absolutely fantastic, to say the least. Like, it really has been a great device to have. Now, you're probably wondering, what are the concerns that I had with this device? Well, the first one was the image quality. And truth be told, up until about 2 weeks ago, I ragged on the image quality, particularly in the, I'm going to call it the Predator rainbow color palette, like the blue right up to the sort of the red hot. You'll know what I mean, because the contrast and the sharpness settings in the device are just way too high. So that was some feedback that I gave to Nocpix, that it would be great if you could control those settings like you would in your standard devices like your scope or your binoculars, being able to adjust the sharpness and the contrast. It would be great if you could do that in this device, but right now, even with the latest update, that was not something that they've put into being able to control over this device. So I hope they do that in the future. It would be nice to be able to play around with those and just get a nicer image out of it. But to finish on the image, it wasn't until I recently watched Rodney Morris, RJM Hunting Australia. He has just recently given his review on this device. And I have a world of respect for Rodney, because Rodney's been dealing with thermal for over a decade or so. Like his experience with thermal is up there with the best of the best. So for him to say, I just want to interject here because I was about to say something that wasn't 100% correct. I had to re-watch Rodney's video so I could hear exactly what he was saying, because what I said was not what Rodney said. And the last thing I want is people pointing fingers, saying so-and-so said this about you. That is absolutely not what I want. So I went back and watched it. What Rodney said was it wasn't the clearest thermal image, but for the value of the device, which is $3,000, it is very impressive. So I just wanted to clarify that. So that way, yeah, nothing is taken out of context. Carry on. That to me made me realize that perhaps I've been overcritical with the image quality from this device. Like I am comparing it to other 640 sensor devices that are up around the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 mark, and that's not where it's at. This device is a $3,000 unit, and I can appreciate it for what it is. So I do apologize to Nocpix for my criticism. I had some pretty heavy-handed criticism regarding the image quality of this in the beginning, but after using it and even being out last weekend with a mate of mine, even he and I both sat in my ute scanning around for foxes, and we looked at each other and were like, has something happened? Like, the image has seemed to have improved overnight. Like, I don't know if it's just because I'm so used to using it, but the image in it isn't as bad as what I was making it out to be. So I do apologize for that. It is great for the unit. Features like the green laser in it. Up until now, my plan was to use my Eagle Eye hunting laser pointer, or Smart Rest laser pointer. I'm not too sure which brand it is, but it came from Eagle Eye Hunting. My plan was to pair that with the Nocpix Vista and put it on the roof and use that as a pointer. But it just meant extra brackets, extra mounting hardware, and additional costs. So having your laser rangefinder and a green laser pointer all in the one unit has been fantastic. Now, I have had my concerns. Again, after watching Rodney's video, the crosshair for the green laser in his footage seemed to line up with where it was aiming. It hasn't been 100% correct in this device. Like you'll see in some of the footage that I'll insert here, I've stopped in the footage and I've given a wave and I've pointed at my feet. That is because that is where the physical laser is pointing, in comparison to the crosshair that I'd imagine, because I haven't watched the footage back yet, that is above my head somewhere. So again, something it would be nice if perhaps in the app, in the settings, if you were able to move the crosshair. So that is something that could potentially be added in an update in the future. So again, nothing to really deter anyone from getting this, because it has been fantastic. It's definitely a bonus to have that in this device, and even with the laser rangefinder too. Like it's like at the end of the day, look, like I said before, this is going in the post tomorrow. It's heading back home, and I'm having my regrets about sending it away. Like it has been a fantastic little unit. Also, I've realized too, I haven't actually shown anyone how I've wired it up to my ute, so I'll put that in now. Alright, so we'll start with how I've got it mounted on top of the ute. I've got it on a Xiphon YT1000 pan tilt remote mount, and you see I've got the remote just here. We go right and left. We can, let's just speed that up a bit. Can tilt up and down, left and right. If you want to know why I picked this mount, shoot me a message privately through Facebook Messenger and I'll be happy to explain my reasoning for going with this particular mount. So that's how I've got it mounted on. It's just bolted with a 1/4 inch thread to the underside of my roof rack, just there, if it'll focus. And look, I've been down dirt roads with it. It seems to hold on pretty fine. And then from there, obviously we have the supplied cable coming through the back, just below the USB-C port. I'll just wrap it around my roof rack just to sort of tie up the loose cable, and it goes down, which I then have it wrapped around me snorkel. And just for the sake of this video, I've got a Deutsch plug on the end of it that then goes to a wiring harness connected to the battery. I don't know if you pronounce it Deutsch plug, that's how I'm pronouncing it. If someone can explain to me through text how you pronounce it, that'd be great. And the reason why I went with a wiring harness was so that then on the inside, I've just got this switch where I can turn it on and off. So that way it's just not running on constant power when it's connected to the battery, and I've got total control over turning the unit on and off while I'm out using it. Look, it comes with a cable that plugs into the back here. It also has a USB-C charging port. So I've just used a wiring harness, an accessory wiring harness, and gone to my ute battery. And the reason why I chose to do that particularly is because this has no on-off switch on it. Once it is connected to power, it is on. So I wanted a wiring harness so I have total control over turning it on and off. That is something I did. I got a Stedi accessory wiring harness, connected it up. It's been working great. The only downside to it is with my remote pan tilt mount, it has restricted my movement from going a full 360-degree circle to just going 180 degrees left, and then having to pan back around and do the full 360 right, but then pan back around again. So that was my only downside to having a hardwired cable, was restricting movement. But if you're running it on a spotlight mount or something like that, it's probably not going to be an issue. There's a lot of guys online that are advertising SpiderBot packages with their battery packs. Couldn't think of the word then. Their battery packs to eliminate the need for cables. Like, obviously there'd still be a cable going from the battery pack into the USB-C port. But yeah, look, there are ways around it to get you full freedom of movement. So all that to say, look, if you have been looking at this device, I would say, look, it is worth the money having this. I would be very interested to see how they would improve on this in the future with maybe like a Nova V2. But look, in all honesty, like the 1.8 base magnification with a 35mm lens, you have such a wide field of view. You can see absolutely everything. Like it has really been great. I've just been running it to my phone. If I had a tablet set up, I'd probably run that, so I've got a bigger image to look at. But the phone's been fine. Like, the only downside is if I want to film myself in it and I jump out to go and collect a fox, I've got to leave my phone in the ute. Otherwise, that is the downside. It has to stay connected to the device, your tablet, your phone, whatever. Because if you disconnect it, obviously it stops recording. That is your display, that is your interface. Everything is done through the app. So yeah, look, your rangefinder, your laser, all of that is controlled through the app. So that was my only criticism. My other criticism about that was there was a few times prior to them doing the update, because that's something I noticed they did in the update, was if I disconnected my phone or got out of the app while it was recording, all that footage that was in the middle of recording was just gone. It was corrupted. You could not recover it. I did notice, because there were a couple of times I did it tonight, if you disconnect the device, it saves your footage. So huge sigh of relief, because there was a couple of times tonight I was recording and I thought, crap, I've just lost that footage, but no, I haven't. So I'm glad to hear that Nocpix listened to those bits of feedback from me. They've also included that you can now use the microphone in your tablet or phone, whatever you're recording through, to talk as well, so you get that audio as well, which is great for me because it means I'm not sitting in the ute talking to myself and it's not recording. There has been some updates to it. I really do hope that they include an update in the future so you can control the settings and get a slightly better image, or even if they just refine those images. Because when I first saw that they were introducing that rainbow Predator Blue color palette, I was ecstatic. Like, I've been waiting to get my hands on a thermal device that's got that color palette. And Nocpix, if you're listening, I would love to see what you can do and, you know, put it in the ace. Just, you know, see what you can do. Anyway, all right, guys. Look, I know it's past midnight. It's cold. I'm gonna wrap it up. So yeah, look, all that to say again, if you're looking at the Nova, I'd recommend it. If you've got one on order, all I can say is you're gonna love it. I'm gonna wrap it up there. I can't say any more about this other than as I've said multiple times now, I'm regretting the fact that this is going back to Nocpix tomorrow. So anyway, all right. Wrapping it up, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the support that I've been getting lately, everyone. Thank you to Nocpix for sponsoring the channel this year, sending me devices like the Nova H35 to be able to run in the field and help with my pest controlling. Also, thank you to Tough Gear Hunting in Queanbeyan, also helping me out along the way. They've just helped me with my brand new CZ457 synthetic varmint 22LR. That was a mouthful. Still haven't finished giving it a facelift yet, but if you're following me on Facebook, I'm sure you'll probably see the facelift all done and dusted before this video comes out, hopefully. All right, guys, finishing up now. Thank you again. Have a great night. Stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you then. Cheers.